Welcome everybody to the Tesla Driver end of 2023 Autopilot review. Today we're going to be doing a 30-minute or a 23-mile drive along a road here in the UK. An A road is in between a back road, a B road, and a motorway or a highway. So it's the most normal and just genuine road, I guess, in the UK. It normally has two lanes like this, one going that way, one coming this way, with some lines in the middle. And this is where I use Autopilot the most. This is where I would do most of my driving. I don't drive many motorways, and when I'm in the city, Autopilot obviously doesn't do city streets. It's currently level 2 autonomy. Here in the UK, the law is you're allowed level 2 autonomy, which means the car can accelerate, decelerate and brake, it can stop completely, and it can steer on its own. So I will be controlling the speed. For example, there I slowed it down because the car did a hard brake at the end to slow us down to 35. If I'm slowing or speeding us up, you'll see the speed here change. I won't go above the speed limit, but I may stay below it for a more comfortable drive. You don't always need to drive the speed limit. And my hand has to be on the wheel at all times. With this new update, it's very naggy. If you take your hand off the wheel for 10 seconds, or even if it just doesn't feel you forcing against the wheel, basically, it will nag you and it will warn you, and then you could be put in Autopilot jail for 7 days, which is pretty extreme. So this is the newest update. I'll put the update version on the screen now so you can see, and this is the final one that I'm getting in 2023. It's the Christmas update, which is normally the biggest one. So like I said, this is going to be a 30-minute drive. I'm only really going to talk when something happens that I think needs explaining, that you might not be able to feel or see in the drive. If you're new here, this blue mark up here, this little blue steering wheel, that means that the car is doing it itself and it is in control. This bar here, you can see it's slightly white. That means the car is using power to accelerate. If the car brakes, so for example, I'll slow the car down now, you can see that turns green, and that means it's regenerating or bringing energy back into the battery and slowing me down. So if I speed it up to 55, let's say, you'll see this will increase because it's using more energy. I have to keep my hand on the wheel at all times for legal reasons, but I am not doing any of the steering here. If I took my hands off, it would be doing the same thing. If I disengage Autopilot, you'll clearly see, because the blue lines will fade, the car will start braking, and this light here will turn off. Hopefully that's everything you need to know so that you understand how it's working and what it does and what you need to look out for. We now are going to go on a lovely 30-minute drive all the way to Worcester on some beautiful country roads coming out of Hereford and going into Worcestershire. If you want to leave any comments down below, any questions, please timestamp the area and I'll try and get back to all of the comments. Thank you so much for supporting me this year. If you want to support me even more, please consider becoming a member, and I can continue these videos into next year. All right, let's enjoy the drive. I've got some royalty-free Christmas music on in the background. Feel free to mute it if you want, but I'll only be talking when it's needed. I'm going to set the car distance here a little bit further, so it's going to be 4 car lengths behind the car in front. So as we come up to our first set of traffic lights here, you can see it says stopping for traffic control in 400 feet. Use the accelerator or gear stalk to continue. What that means is even if the lights are green, the car will stop at the lights. So you can see the lights over there are turning green now. The lights on here will show green, but I have to actually tell the car it's okay to go through, otherwise it will still come to a stop. To do that, I can just tap the accelerator or tap this Q once, and as you can see, that's gone away. It will now go through the green lights. If those lights turn back from green to red, the car will stop, of course, and ask me to do it again. The car will also regulate its speed limit depending on what signs it sees. So you can see this 40 here on the left. It should show a 40, there you go. So it shows the 40 there, and it will keep it to the speed limit or the speed limit plus 10%. So 44 would be the maximum that it goes. But if you go from a faster speed limit into a slower one, it only registers that speed limit as you cross the line. But the way people drive naturally here, you don't go 40 as you enter the 40, you slow it down as you go into it. As you go into a faster speed limit, so you can see we've now entered a 50, the car won't speed up and go to 50, it will stick at the old speed limit. It says here, auto steer limited, be prepared to take over. That's because, again, another ruling here in the EU and in the UK is the amount of turn the car can do is limited. I believe it's based off of G-forces, but I'm not 100% sure. But basically, hard turns, it won't turn the car enough, it will try and slow the car down instead. So now we've entered into a 60, the car is still doing 40, so I'm just going to bump it up myself with the steering wheel here, and we're going to go up to 50 to catch up with the van in front. So as we've caught up to the van in front and he's going slower, the car is keeping the forward distance that I set, and it's slowing us down to match the speed of the van, which is 43. In regards to visualization, the car will pick up double yellow lines or double lines on both sides of the roads, garbage cans, cones, and pylons, like these pylons here. It's actually not showing them now, but normally it will show little sticks as pylons, and that's about as far as it goes. It also shows the stop signs, about 5 or 6 different types of vehicles. And if you're going slower in like a city or something, if there's a stop sign, if it says stop on the road, it will write stop on the road. If there's a bicycle image on the road for a bicycle lane, it will show that on the road. It will also show arrows pointing left, right, or straight on. Although it can see the cars on the other side of the road, sometimes, like now, it just doesn't bother to show them because they're not in the way and they're not important to the autopilot experience. Hard braking there. as we came to that crossing, I think because some cars crossed across, and actually we had a very hard brake there for a split second as we went past that car in the junction. It may have been slightly worried that the car was coming across, so decided to do a hard brake. This part of the road goes into a dual carriageway, but as there's no central divide, I can't indicate to go into the right-hand lane, and the car's just going to stay in this lane. If this was on a motorway or any sort of restricted road with barriers, you could swap lanes and the car will swap the lane for you. I'm going to have to turn this music off, otherwise I'm going to fall asleep. So you can see here it's picked up the arrows on the road and it's showing them here correctly. And as the double line goes into a single line, it reflects that as well. Apply slight force to the steering wheel. I've had force on the whole journey and that's the first time it's asked for it. So I need to apply a little bit more. I guess as you drive, you slightly loosen up with the force because you don't mean to be pulling it, you just want to rest your hand on it. But with this latest update, it really wants a bit more force. Going to plug the camera bit in here because it's rattling. Decided to brake a little bit for this corner. Again, another hard brake there because it can't turn enough to go around the corner, so the way it does that without going over the amount of steering it's allowed to do is by braking and slowing the car down, which can be relatively jarring at some points, like this. There you go. Whoa, cutting across the road there, that was not comfortable. I'm not sure what it was doing there. Bug report, car went into middle lane. Okay, that tried to call someone, but that was actually meant to be a bug report. If you say bug report, it should start a bug report and send it to Tesla, but it didn't get that one because it thought I was calling someone called Bumper. Again, I'm holding onto the wheel, but because it was because the auto steer was limited, it just wants to make sure that you're 100% there. It's very, very naggy. Again, it says it's limited here as well. The only way to really stop that is bring the speed down a little bit, so we're going to bring it down to 47 and see if it's a bit better at 47. it's braking quite hard here for this corner, all the way down to 35. I'm not sure what it didn't like there, but it's just a little bit slower than I would normally like it to go, and slower than this van. As you can see, we're further away, so the van may have slowed us down there a little bit, but I think the car was being a bit extra cautious there as well. Braking nicely for the van here. So it does say on that sign max speed 35 for this corner. Now that's not a speed that you legally have to follow, that's just suggesting because it's very tight. The car's gone down to 32 for it, and it's done it really nicely. I think that's because it was following what the van in front or the truck in front was doing, and that's working quite well for us. Because there's a leading car that is going slower, that definitely helps us out. If we had no car in front of us, it would have probably hit that at a higher speed and then done some quite neck-jarring brakes to try and get itself to get around that corner, and I probably would have had to have taken control. Slowing nicely for this corner. And again, it's asking me to apply light force because auto steer is limited, and it's just making sure that I'm there, even though it can see me because the camera up there is watching me, and it can see that I'm watching the road, and it can feel me because I'm pulling on the steering wheel, so it knows that I've got my hand on the steering wheel. It's just being extra cautious. Speed it up to 55 here, just so that we stay with the van. And this is on navigate, so as you can see, it knows where we want to go, so it is navigating itself. If, for example, we were turning off left here and we had the navigation on, the car would slow down for that for us. It wouldn't turn because that's not legal, that's level 3 autonomy. It wouldn't actually turn left for us, but it would bring us to a slowdown and tell us that we're turning off, but then we'd have to take control. So you can see here, we're coming into a 40, so instead of the car going straight through it itself, I'm going to bring it down early. and the car should start slowing itself down. And as we go through, you can see it says restricted to 44 miles an hour. Now, we did have in this update a speed camera warning, and as you can see, there is a speed camera on the map here, and it is warning us that there is a speed camera ahead, which is very good. So we're going to bring this straight down, and we'll go the speed limit past this speed camera. But that's brand new in this update, where it warns us where the speed camera is on the map, and it tells us here. What I would really like is a chime of some sort to tell us that we're going through a speed camera. And especially if you're going over the speed limit, for it to chime and warn us that there is a speed camera there. This bit here sometimes can confuse the car because the lines disappear, but no, it's figured it out now. I have had it before there where it has almost taken me on the completely wrong side of the road, so it seems to have learned how to do that little bit. I think it was because there was cars on the other side of the road as well. It just tracked where this van was going. So with 1 mile to go until we need to make our first, do our first thing basically, I'd say this has gone really quite well. It's definitely helped that this van in front of us has been slightly slower and has been in front of us the whole way, because the car's used that, the speed of the van and some of the positioning of the van to kind of affect itself. But this has been 17 miles, I think, and we haven't had to take over one time yet. I have done the speed limits a little bit, and I would really hope that the car could be able to slow down before it hits a 30, for example, so it's not, if you go from a 60 to a 30, you're still going to be doing 60 as you hit the 30. I kind of wish it would bring it down so at least it's doing 40, 35. Hopefully that will come in an update soon. But as we come to this roundabout, the car cannot do roundabouts. Like I said, it's only level 2 autonomy, so that's fine. We'll have to take it over for this, but for this stretch of the journey, it's been absolutely brilliant. It has been a little bit naggy. We've had to watch out a couple of times because it came over the road, but I'd say 75% happiness for that drive. Again, there's no warning that it's coming up to a roundabout. I have had it a couple of times where it says slowing down for roundabout, which obviously then would urge you to take over. Now it just kind of gets to a roundabout, and if you leave it, it does try and attempt it. But as you can see, it's slowing us right down for this roundabout, and then I'll take control here. And then as soon as we've completed the roundabout and we've got that steering wheel up there, we can flick it back on. My hand is on the steering wheel, and we had a little diamond there in the road as well. I'm not sure if we actually had a diamond in the road, but it was showing a diamond in the road. We've got a cyclist here battling the wind. Will it show it for us? No, it's not on our side of the road, so it's not important. This is quite a tight corner here, so the car seems to be keeping us at a slow speed to try and attempt it. And it has done, but that was very uncomfortable, and it was braking quite hard. You can see the van ahead of us. The van completed it easily, going round That's all because of the steering restrictions we have here. Again, it's slowing us down here for this corner, and it's braking. Not sure what it was slamming on for there, and it gave us a warning, but it didn't like that turning at all. I think maybe because there was a cyclist on the pavement on the other side of the road. I'm not sure, but that didn't feel comfortable. It really slammed on there for a second and came back off. So for this final leg, let's put it all the way up to the speed limit and see how it handles this straight bit of road. On wider, clearer roads like this, it's obviously way better. And again, as we come up to this roundabout, I'll have to take control. I'm going to indicate right, and the car is slowing itself down here. I'm just going to let it slow itself down, and let's see if it picks a lane. It's picked the right-hand lane, and it's come to almost a complete stop. Now, it's not going to stop completely, and we don't want it to stop completely. But that slowed us down really nicely to about, I think it was about 15 miles an hour. Apply slight force. I've got my hand on the wheel. So there we go, that's pretty much a 20-mile journey. This goes into 2 lanes here. I'm not sure what it's just kept us in the left lane, and it's slowing us down here for the roundabout. Again, with plenty of time, this is good. It's slowing us right down for it, and it brings us right up to the roundabout, and now I can take over. And then as we complete the roundabout, the steering wheel's there, and we can put it back on for it to do its thing and drive itself. Let me know what you think about this drive down below in the comment section. Do you want to see more drives like this? I've done city driving, and I'm also going to be doing motorway driving, and we're going to see what did you think by the end of 2023 Tesla Autopilot. This is the full self-drive upgrade package, but that doesn't mean it has all the full self-drive stuff. What did you expect it to be able to do by the end of the year? Are you happy with this, or are you slightly disappointed? I'd be really interested to know all of your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching Tesla Driver. Have a happy holidays. See you next year. Drive safe.